And speaking of Kamala, right? How you feel about her losing to Trump?
Kamala Harris's loss to Donald Trump was not a surprise for me. I think I even said somewhere that if she wins, America will descend into civil war. I believe that because even though the media was trying to give the false narrative that she was America's choice, it was clear to everyone that Donald Trump was America's choice. Not my choice, but America's choice. And I think the power structure had to sit down and really think this over, Art. I think this is one of the few elections in American history where the shadow government, and when I say shadow government, I'm talking about the Federal Reserve, the CIA, the FBI, the National Security Agency, the Bilderbergs, the Rothschilds, all of the secret society, Skull and Bones. I think this is one of the few elections where they might have had to change their decision in the 11th hour, because I am very confident that they wanted a second Joe Biden term. But because he was intellectually unable to proceed, they were forced to go with Kamala, and they thought she could win it because you had 10 million more women registered in the last election than men. So if Kamala could just carry the female vote, we would win. And what did we see? We saw the same thing we saw when Donald Trump ran against Hillary Clinton. America's white women sided with Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton, and they sided with Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. And I'm not surprised she lost. I expected her to lose, but I'm still disappointed in our Black Greek society because that $30 million that they gave her the first night she announced her candidacy to be president of the United States, we don't get that money back, Art. We don't get that money back. And that kind of money could have been used to build a mental health hospital for Black people, the kind of hospital that would have gave Jordan Neely the treatment he needed so he would have never end up on the subway getting choked out by a Caucasian. So some people say, is it good she lost? Because if she had won, Black people would have saw in her another savior, as we saw in Barack Obama. I understand the notion, but I don't agree, Art, because Donald Trump isn't going to wake up Black people any more than Kamala Harris is. Because you need love to organize. You need love to build. You need love for solidarity, Art. We don't have it. So whether it's Donald Trump mistreating you, whether it's Kamala Harris selling you false promises, at the end of the day, you're going to end in the same place because you don't have enough commitment to one another to overcome what you're going through. But let me say this, having said that. Donald Trump is making a lot of promises, Art, a lot of promises. And I want to remind people that Donald Trump is not the CEO of the United States. Donald Trump is the president of the United States, or will be again next month. The president does not run the country. The shadow government runs the country. Donald Trump is making a lot of promises about deporting illegal immigrants. Do I believe he's going to be able to deport all of these illegal immigrants, Art? No, I do not. Is he going to be able to deport the African immigrants? Yes, he will. Because white people don't want African immigrants in America. And unfortunately, brainwashed American Africans, many of us, don't want African immigrants in America either. So he will be successful deporting the Haitian brothers and sisters. He will be successful deporting our Congolese brothers and sisters, both of whom he accused of eating animals and things like that. But notice, Art, he didn't make those jokes about the Latino immigrants. He didn't make those jokes about the migrants. You know why? Because Donald Trump knows the migrants are here to stay, Art. And how does Donald Trump know the migrants are here to stay? I'll tell you how. Number one, Donald Trump knows that if he sends all those migrants back to South and Central America, a lot of American corporations will pack up and they will move to second and third world countries where they can pay the children less than $1 a day, Art, to make their expensive merchandise. The migrants are here for two big reasons. Number one, to guarantee that America big businesses and corporations don't float their factories to another country. That's the main reason the migrants are here. Donald Trump is a businessman. He understands economics and capitalism as well as anybody. He knows damn well that if he kick out all those migrants, he will lose a lot of businesses. He can't afford that. And number two, as we all know, the migrants are here to replace black people. They're here to replace us in our communities. They're here to replace us in the social service support programs. They're here to replace us in colleges and universities. That's one of the reasons President Joe Biden renamed the White House HBCU initiative to the White House Minority Serving Institutions Initiative, Art. It's no longer HBCU. It's Minority Serving Institutions. So they are creating the type of environment that they need to replace black with brown. And we are partly responsible for this because every time we open up our silly, politically uneducated mouths, all you hear from American Africans is black and brown, black and brown. You never hear brown people talk about black people. You never hear brown people talk about black people. You never hear brown people talk about black people, but whenever we get a microphone in front of our mouths, we start taking up for brown people before we even take up for black people. So we deserve a lot of this. And as far as President Obama trying to disrespect black men into voting for Kamala Harris, Obama, please, what did you do for black people? You oppose reparations. You raised the bounty on Assata Shakur's head, a black woman, former Black Liberation Army goddess, former Black Panther goddess. Yes, President Barack Obama raised Assata Shakur's bounty. Remember, the State Department had $1 million bounty on Assata Shakur's head if somebody could bring her back to America to stand trial. $1 million. Barack Obama gets in there. And the FBI under Barack Obama, he's the president, they serve him. Under Barack Obama, the FBI raised the bounty on Assata Shakur's head, Art, from $1 million to $2 million. That's what Barack Obama did for black America. He refused to exonerate the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, did nothing about police genocide, but made it more difficult for you to sue police for brutalizing you unjustifiably when he signed that blue alert law. Remember, he signed that law that made it almost impossible for you to defend yourself against police assault. President Barack Obama did that. So he was the last person to push Kamala Harris. Here's the problem, Art. The black bourgeoisie failed to recognize that the black people who voted for Barack Obama were not the young people who will be voting now. The young people who voted for Obama are the parents. It is their children who are the young people now. And they have already seen how Obama did not serve black people and they were not going to fall for the same scam again. You could probably make the case, Art, that Barack Obama campaigning for Kamala Harris may have hurt her vote in black America. I definitely think Barack Obama campaigning for Kamala Harris hurt her vote amongst black men. But I don't know what these Republican Party plantation slaves are celebrating, Art. I don't know what these Republican Party plantation slaves are celebrating, Art, because Donald Trump didn't appoint a single black person to his cabinet. He might appoint a judge. He got several federal judgeships. Maybe a black person get a federal judgeship. But so far, I ain't seen no Africans named for Donald Trump's cabinet. And that's exactly what we get. That's exactly what we get running around here acting like Donald Trump is some kind of a friend of black people. Ain't this the same man who took out a full-page ad against those brothers who were unfairly arrested and accused of being part of that Central Park murder case? Donald Trump said he wanted them to get the death penalty. I don't even think he ever apologized for that. Donald Trump, who signed a death warrant for innocent black men right before he left office the last time he was president. Donald Trump don't care about no black folks. Neither does Kamala Harris. We better get organized, because if black America doesn't get organized, Art, I'm afraid we might not survive the 21st century in this country.
Gotta get organized. And I had no idea that Obama, he did that to Assata. I didn't know about that, man.
Yes. Oh, yes. $2 million under a black president.